Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem El Shai, Ba'ashem Harakah, Kudash, double honors unto the apostles and elders of great Millstone and well, and Shalom to the hopeful elect. This is Payala. The title of this video is called Look Up. Alright, right now we're in those times, man. You had, after much back and forth, you had Germany reluctant to send their tanks over into Ukraine, and they basically succumbed to, all of the debate basically, and now they're basically supplying Ukraine with the artillery they need, and it's basically set a ball in motion for other nations to also supply Ukraine after the fact, right? Even though before as well, you had various nations supplying them with artillery, tanks, and taking the battlefield, severity up until another level. Basically taking, making it more intense. And with that being said, the reason why I mentioned Ukraine specifically is because you had the Orthodox, Russian bishop or high priest, or whatever his title is, basically come out and say that, look, if the West supplies aids Ukraine, that could basically set off. He basically was prophesying more or less, saying on the left hand side, but prophesying nonetheless. He basically said, look, if they were to aid Ukraine, it set World War III in motion, all right, and it will lead to thermonuclear destruction, which is biblical prophecy, all right. So it shows that the spirit is basically just out there, letting it be known to the masses what's going on. But while these things are happening, you got people worrying about the financial minister. Financial minister. They're worrying about, did he pay his taxes, and the fact that he could pay $5 million and penalties at the drop of a hat, basically. Pointless, frivolous shit that don't mean nothing. All right, because the people have been blinded to the reality of the things that are going on. Now, with that being said, us that are not blinded, us that do see these things, everything happening, all right, even with also with the AI deep fake, all right, which is gonna be a guise to, set us, pin us as, the new villain, all right. And you know what I'm talking about when I say that. I don't want to say that word, all right, but paint us as the new villains, and bring about the shutdown of the internet, the famine of the hearing of the word. And also you got other things. There's another thing I was going to say. Well, that's the point. But with that being said, all of these things happening is basically a beautiful thing. Oh, why I say that is because ultimately it's these things have to happen. It needs to be a resistance. It needs to be a push and pull. I mean, it needs to be a resistance, push, pull, for there to be a reaction from the Heavenly Father, all right, which would bring about our salvation and take us out of this godforsaken place. Right, so I got a couple scriptures. I always do, man. I just got 3 scriptures, and I really do that because it's comprehending much in little, trying to keep it to the point. So Lord willing, you be edified. So it's Isaiah 59:19. So it says, so shall they fear the name of the Lord Yahweh from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of the Lord Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him. So I was gonna say unpack this. Let's break this down. All right. This is Isaiah 59:19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. All right. So fear the name of Yahweh, all right, which isn't known in this day and age that we're in. But he has his ambassadors, being the prophets of the Most High Power, starting with the apostles of Great Millstone, and the men on down, basically prophesying of the end of this world in his name. All right, they're presenting his name to the masses of the people from the west and his glory from the rising of the sun. Basically, Lord saying it in an eloquent way from the east to the west, from where the sun rises to where it sets, all are gonna know the name of the Lord. All right. So this is where this is how it's gonna be established when the enemy, all right, the enemy, another word for enemy is Satan, Shaitan, adversary, all right, that he that is adverse to the righteous way, all right, shall come in like a flood. The spirit of the Lord Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him. Now the Lord spoke about the spirit in the flesh, not profiting, and the spirit quickening, basically. Right, and the words that that Yahweh Shai spoke, their spirit and their life. All right, but to have that spirit, you have to have what? Faith. All right, now with faith, you can, as a grain of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. All right. So with that ability to move mountains, that's in faith, right? And that's what our ability, rely, what our salvation is hold. Salakia, man. Let me rephrase this. All right, faith. All right, our faith, our belief in Yahweh Shai, is what is gonna allow that standard to be raised up against Esau when he makes his move. All right. So I wanna draw from an example, of our forefathers. The things that are written aforetime are written for our learning. All right, to show that basically, these things happened before, and they're gonna happen again. But the thing that they're gonna, and I was meditating on this earlier today when I was on a plantation, when my mind was allowed to wander for a moment, because they weren't whipping the shit out of me. You got more or less, all right, give or take, every great spirit. I really meditated. This is crazy, man, when you think about it. You got every great spirit in this book on this earth at the present time. Some have passed and gone into the spirit realm, but for the most part, that's why the population has gone so high, all right, because you have judgment being meted out at this time, all right, and even on the right hand side, you have the judges, all right, being brought back, all right. You have all of these great spirits, all right, these judges that are spoken in the book of Judges, these prophets spoken in various different scriptures, the history, all this type of stuff. They're here right now, all right, and they're all gonna get busy in this time, man. But there's things that happened before, all right, that are written for our learning, and now we're in a time of what, like, basically the Lord said that this time will be like a time of great evil, like no time ever before. So that shows you that all that deliverance and the great acts that were done by those great men in the past, this time is going to be personified to a great level, all right? Because remember as well, the elect to the Most High Power spoke of also their joint heirs, and it also spoke of being the saviors of Israel, all right? So the Lord said it as well. What be Salakia, man, I'm very, excuse me for poorly quoting these scriptures, but what be a fire is kindled, and what be I come to bring fire on earth, And what be I if it be already kindled? All right. So the Lord basically saying he's come to bring fire, but before he makes his presence felt upon the earth, it's gonna be getting hot and heavy. All right. And there's gonna be certain men, key men, that are gonna have that spirit on them. All right. So I want to read from this. So this is 2 Kings 6 and 8. Then the king of Syria warred against Israel and took counsel with his servants, saying, in such and such a place shall be my camp. And the man of the Most High sent unto the king of Israel, saying, beware that thou pass not such a place, for thither the Syrians are come down. And the king of Israel sent to the place which the man of the Most High told him and warned him of, and saved himself there not once nor twice. All right. Now this showing you how great it is to be a prophet upon this earth, because Elisha basically was a conduit between the Heavenly Father and all the men walking upon the earth, and primarily being his choice nation, the nation of Israel. All right. Or, as it was in that time, in the time of the split. So, reading on, it says, so he was mindful when he managed to, anytime he went about that place, he was basically, what's the word I want to say? He was aware, all right? Verse 11, therefore the heart of the king of Syria was sore troubled for this thing, and he called his servants and said unto them, will ye not show me which of us is for the king of Israel? And one of his servants said, none, my lord, O king. But Elisha, the prophet that is in Israel, telleth the king of Israel the words that thou speakest in thy bedchamber. And that's the Lord, man. The Lord basically was given, the angels, the ministers of flame of fire, all right? They basically will work in between, going up and down Jacob's ladder, so to speak, and giving him the words of everyone, man, right? Basically putting in his heart and his mind to know everything that was of great importance. And that showed that Elisha was on a high level because they were aware of this, all right? His name, rang bells, all right? Verse 13. And he said, go and spy where he is, that I may send and fetch him. And it was told him, saying, behold, he is in Dothan. Therefore sent he thither horses and chariots and a great host, and they came by night and compassed the city about. And when a servant of the man of the Most High was risen early and gone forth, behold, an host compassed the city both with horses and chariots. And his servant said unto him, alas, my master, how shall we do? Right? And he answered, fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. All right? Just like, and this is the thing. This is a moment of temptation. You can say it's an hour of temptation. It isn't the hour of temptation, but denoting the word hour to a time or a moment, this, is an hour of temptation. All right? Just like you had various of our forefathers presented with different temptations. It was a moment, all right? But there's one key, and the reason why I'm saying that is because this shows this reigns true as an example of what's to come in these times, and for you to frame it and pattern it in your mind of what's coming to what was done in the past. All right, so I'm going to read this verse again, verse 16. And he answered, fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with him. Now, the first thing that comes to mind, fear not them that have power to kill the flesh, but fear him that have power to, destroy the spirit and the body. All right? Basically, fear the Most High power. Make him your trembling and your fear. All right? Because ultimately, he controls it all. Right? But then, as we read on, you're going to understand as to what, and or should I say, why this was being said by Elisha, all right? Because ultimately, this is what, you know, as it tells you in the book of Hebrews, I believe it's 6:4, is it 4:1? It's escaping me at the moment. But basically, it speaks to them not being mixed with faith. The words of the Most High didn't profit them, all right? Because why? They're going to lean more to what? The book of Isaiah 30:31, all right? About the chariot, you know, the horses of Egypt being many, all right? The might of Babylon the Great is what's going to sway them to basically sought, you know, protection from this man Esau, all right? Whereas what? Dealing with this word, I mean, dealing with the Heavenly Father, that's what's gonna make us, you know, hold to Him, and we're gonna, you know, come in this mindset as Elisha did. Verse 17, and Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord Yahweh opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha. See, and it even slipped my mind that as she spoke about the horses and chariots. So that's a good precept with Isaiah 30:31. All right. I forget which specific one speaks to the trusting in the horses of Egypt, because there's many. All right. But it shows you there's an innumerable number that is of the chariots of the Most High power. Guess what? They ain't horses of flesh that can only go so fast for so long. These are, you know, it's just vehicles that are just made out of gold, silver, that can just defy the so-called laws of physics. All right? And they basically, that is part of what's on our side. All right? There ain't nothing on this earth that can compete with that level of power. All right? Those horses and those chariots. Verse 18, and when they came down to him, Elisha prayed unto the Lord Yahweh and said, smite this people, I pray thee, with blindness. And he smote them in blindness according to the word of Elisha. And Elisha said unto them, this is not the way, neither is this the city. Follow me, and I will bring you to the man whom ye seek. But he led them to Samaria. And it came to pass, and imagine, this is how great of power the Heavenly Father endowed Elisha with, who took up the mantle of Elijah. All right? He basically allowed him to come face to face with his enemies and basically lead them astray. All right? Through them being blinded. So they're beholding him to the face. But guess what? They don't see him for who he is. All right? So verse 20. And it came to pass, when they were come into Samaria, that Elisha said, Lord Yahweh, open the eyes of these men that they may see. And the Lord Yahweh opened their eyes, and they saw, and behold, they were in the midst of Samaria. And the king of Israel said unto Elisha, when he saw them, my father, shall I smite them? Shall I smite them? And he answered, thou shalt not smite them. Wouldest thou smite those whom thou hast taken captive with thy sword and with thy bow? Set bread and water before them, that they may eat and drink and go to their master. And he prepared great provision for them. And when they had eaten and drunk, he set them away, and they went to their master. So the bands of Syria came no more into the land of Israel. All right? So that showed great power, man. All right? And this is the ability, this is the things that the Heavenly Father can do when things look bleak. All right? So let me finish with this. Whoa. I don't know what I'm going to do. So it's the book of Luke 21:25. All right? Luke 21 being the same account as in Matthew 24, Mark 13 of what? When the Lord was on the mount, all right, speaking to his disciples at the time, when they inquired what should be the end, the signs of the end, and the signs of his coming. So that's Luke 21:25. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, all right, which we're seeing right now consistently. They keep speaking on different events that happen once every 5,000 years occurrence, once every 10,000 years occurrence. These different things, blood moons, uh, eclipses, all right? These are different signs, man. Shooting stars. And upon the earth, distress of nations. We're seeing that right now with perplexity. The sea and the waves roaring. Mudslides over in LA, all right, or California, should I say. Okay? These are the things that are recurring upon the earth. Verse 26, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after these things which are coming on the earth. And this is why you have a thing known as news fatigue. Because you had, especially with Novid, you had people just watching it and being like, oh man, this is too much. So they mentally checked out, all right? They clocked out mentally. And that's why now they ain't looking for it. But there's going to come a time where it's so hot and heavy, they couldn't imagine, all right, closing their eyes and forgetting about it because it would be bouncing around in their head. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. Just like how Elisha showed the young man all the multitude that was there being more than that was with our opposition. Verse 28. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. What are you looking up and lifting your heads up for? Because you're looking for the Lord making his return. All right? Because basically it's what? The devil, knowing that he has a short time, cometh down with great wrath, because he knows that the Lord is about to make a return. So we got to lift up our heads and, look up to the sky, because the Lord's coming to swoop us down. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming down to carry us home. All right, for your redemption draweth nigh. So with that, I pray you're edified. To the next one, say shalom, shalom.